We are here with a 2022 Profitec Pro 600. The issues the client is citing are as follows. The steam boiler reaches 140 degrees but struggles to go any higher. The O-rings on the steam wand and hot water wand are brittle and come out. The group head has an old gasket and he wants it replaced. All in all, things that we already do here, we rebuild the entire group head, making sure the valves and gaskets are replaced. We polish the valve heads and the camshaft itself to provide extra smooth operation. But the first issue we have is that it does not go over 140. Let's open it up and see what we find. Alright, I got the panels off. We're just going to let it heat up for a little bit. And we're going to take a look mainly at the solid state relays. Notice they've got a little light on here. So we are pulling 1021 watts. So it's not enough to see that we're not running two of them at the same time, which I mean both of the elements. This is a dual boiler vibration pump PID espresso machine. We don't even care about what the models are. That's what it is. It's operated by two thermocouples, which we see here and here. Those thermocouples are being read by this PID. The PID is then sending out a signal. That signal is telling this relay to turn on, and that relay is trafficking, if you will, this boiler, which is our brew boiler. And once that hits the set target of, let's see, what target do they have this on? We got to turn this on real quick. So 200 degrees, I'm going to go 199 just to play it safe. And 262, that's a little too high for your boy Los, but we'll go 256 like I like to keep it. So those are what it's trying to go through. And at the moment we are just seeing our one LED on. So we're going to be back once things start heating up. Okay, we've been heating up. We are at we're almost at 200 degrees or so in the steam boiler. And if we're looking here, we can see the juggling of the power. It's only able to handle one heat source at a time, so it juggles that, and the priority is the coffee boiler on the right. The reason why we have this weird view here is for the wattage viewer over here. I just like to keep my eye on that. Lets us know we're heating up. When we have 1,000 watts, we are definitely heating up somewhere. Okay, and we're also seeing 207, 208, so the temperature keeps rising for the steam. So far we're not seeing any of the issues that were cited, at least when it comes to the heating cycle, which absolutely can change. Once we get this solid state relay working, or at least nice and hot, we're going to see how it works under a load. If anything, we'll change that out. But at the moment, we just closed our vacuum breaker and it's able to now build pressure up. One thing I've definitely noticed is a group head leak here. Here comes a little droppy drop. If those valves are working correctly, we shouldn't have any dripping, and especially because we haven't really even run the group head. But once we run the group head, if we start to see a persistent leak coming out of here, there's no doubt about it. Our top valve is worn, the gasket, and it's allowing water to get through. And we're going to make sure to take care of that. But right now we're almost creeped up completely to the first and finishing the first cycle of heating for the steam boiler. By now the group head or the brew boiler has cycled a couple times. Okay, we have finished the heating cycle for the steam, which is great. Looking at the wattage, it is now lowering down in wattage, running just basic essentials and just pulsing the solid state relays as needed. Let's force it into another cycle. Okay. So far so good. So we're just gonna have to let this sit around and fail. So that's what we're gonna let it do. Okay, I let her go for another half an hour or so, so almost 2 hours, and she's been holding. A couple things I've done. I've emptied out the boiler at least twice, so that, sorry, I'm gonna work on changing out O-rings here in a second. But I replaced the old water with new water, let that temperature drop down and heat back up, and no change. It's really holding its temperature, and I'm not seeing any issues at the moment. So we're just going to stop what we're doing. We're going to turn it off. We're going to address some of these other issues and see what's going on. As you can see, we've got no O-ring in here, so we're going to rebuild this assembly in here. All that good stuff. So let's just go ahead and cool her down. Alright, we're taking care of the group head, and I just pulled the top valve, and let's see if we can get a good look at her. Focus. There we go, lock it up. There it is. Maybe that's a little better. Definitely getting some wornness there. The pin head is getting worn. It's not as bad as the bottom one, and these get pretty bad quick because of the extra spring involved when it comes to having a flow control. Alright, so I just finished polishing the cam and the pin heads that interact with the cam, getting them to a mirror polish there. Yeah, this is going to work really well in there. Okay, it's the next morning. We had 0 issues with this unit overnight, mainly because it wasn't turned on. But before that, the unit heated up just fine and proper. Y'all saw that. So today is a new day. Let's get a time lapse going and see how high she will heat up today. After talking to the client just now, we decided that we're just going to go ahead and replace the solid state relay for the steam boiler. Now, it was working, you guys saw it, but I'd hate for this to leave the shop and fail at their house, especially if they're seeing those issues happen. And these tend to work at times, and then they'll fail, like without any sort of indication on them. So we decided, or rather I gave the option to the client, and he said, let's go ahead and replace it so that we don't have to worry about it. So that's what we're doing here. We got that new solid state relay put in. We're just going to button it up from this point on, and we're going to test it one last time. Well, everything's back to normal. Feeling great. Not that I saw it abnormally, but after talking to the client and hearing what he had to say, we just went ahead and replaced that solid state relay just to make sure. But we got a nice group head rebuild completed. We went ahead and re-tongue oiled all the wooden parts, so they're shiny and they are oil resistant, water resistant again. I did the same thing to the veneers. I don't think it needed it, but we did it anyways. Here are the valves we removed. Let's see if we can get a focus. And you see how wedged that gets. The gasket's starting to pop up out of its housing. That's the bottom one. That's the pre-infusion valve. This here is the brew valve itself. You can see how crusty it is around the gasket and actually on the seat of the gasket as well. That's what was causing that little mini leak. And you can see the scale we had in there. I also cleaned the inside of that group head. This little guy, you get it in there, cleans it up real good. Anyways, that's it for this repair. She's ready to go home and hang out and make some amazing coffee once again. Hey, thanks for watching. Bye.